Good morning, children. Today we are going to start our third lesson. Pip amazes himself, and this story or this lesson is actually taken from The Great Expectations, okay, written by Charles Dickinson. Charles Dickens, who was a very famous English writer. So it is a lesson, it is a story about an orphan boy called Pip. Okay, orphan means what? Do you know what is orphan? Orphan means who doesn't have his parents. Okay, means someone who lives without a kid who lives without his parents. Okay, so it is called as uh, orphan. Okay, so here let's see what happens in the story. When I reached home, my sister was very curious to know about Miss Havisham's and asked a number of questions. Okay, what happens? When Pip reached home, his sister was very curious to know about Miss Havisham's. Okay, she was eager to know about Miss Havisham, and she asked a lot of questions, and I have found myself getting heavily bumped from behind in the nape of the neck and small of the back because I did not answer those questions at sufficient length. Means he was not giving answers which will satisfy them. Okay, so he got bumping, he got hitting on the nape of his neck and small of his back. Nape of the neck means backside of your neck. Okay, and a point which joins in the middle of your neck and your back. Okay, it is called as nape of the neck. So why? Because he was not giving satisfying. The worst thing was, the worst of it was that bullying old Pumblechook, devoured by a curiosity to be informed all I had seen and heard, came over at tea time to hear all the details. Okay. And worst of it was something old Pumblechook, that bullying old Pumblechook, devoured by curiosity, means Uncle Pumblechook was there, and he was very cruel actually and intimidating or dominating nature. Okay. And he was also eager uh, devoured by curiosity, like writer says here, so to be informed of all I had seen and heard about Miss Havisham's. Okay, came over at tea time to hear all the details. So, well, boy, Uncle Pumblechook began. How did you get on uptown? Okay, how did you get on uptown? I answered, pretty well, sir. And my sister shook her fist at me. Okay, now these two people are asking questions to Pip, and he was answering by his mind. Okay, he said, pretty well, sir. Okay, so and his sister showed her fist at him. When you close your fingers tightly together to hit someone, okay, so she showed her fist to him, and I answered, pretty well, sir. So, pretty well, Mr. Pumblechook repeated. Pretty well is no answer, boy. What did Miss Havisham look like? Okay, he wanted to know more about Miss Havisham. So he asked her this question. Very tall and dark, I told him. Is she uncle? Asked my sister. Sister asked to Uncle Pumblechook. Is she uncle? Mr. Pumblechook winked assent. Winked assent means he gave an expression showing his positive remark, or as if he is agreeing to it. Okay. From which I at once inferred that he had never seen Miss Havisham, for she was nothing of the kind. Means she was neither tall nor dark. Okay. So, but he was telling by his own mind. He was lying actually. Okay. So, good. Now, boy, what was she doing when you went in today? Asked Mr. Pumblechook. Okay. Asked another question, new question. Okay. What was she doing when you went in today? He asked. She was sitting in a black velvet coach. Okay, I answered. Pip answered. Means black velvet coach means what? Um, Coach means a kind of thing. Here, you can see in this picture here. Coach means this chariot-like thing which is driven by horses and animals like horse or only horses. Okay, it is driven by horses and has wheels. Okay, like a chariot. Okay, so my sister, Mr. Pumblechook, stared at one another, and both repeated, "In a black velvet coach?" "Yes," said I. "And Miss Estella, that's her niece, I think, handed her in cake and wine at the coach window on a gold plate." Okay. Now, Pip is continuing to tell his story, okay, which he was making up by his own mind. Okay. He said, and Miss Estella, who was handed in handed her in cake and wine at the coach window, okay, from the coach window on a gold plate, okay, not use in our houses, okay, on a gold plate. She gave her the cake and wine inside the coach, and I got up behind the coach to eat mine. Okay, I got up behind the coach. Why? Because I wanted to eat also the cake. Because she told me to. Means Miss Estella told me to eat the cake, so I got up behind the coach. Was anybody else there? Asked Mr. Pumblechook. Okay. Means they are so much eager to know about Miss Havisham, and they are asking questions and questions to Pip, and he is answering by his own mind, making up his imaginary story, or he is telling more and more lies here. Okay, because it cannot be true. Means the one lady is sitting in a black velvet coach, and she was given cake and wine on gold plate. Okay, so was anybody else there to as the answer of this question? He said, Pip said, four dogs were there. Okay, large or small? Immense, I said. Immense means very large, massive, massive dogs were there. Okay, and what they were doing means and they fought for veal cutlets out of a silver basket. See, there was a plate of gold and basket of silver, and that silver basket was containing veal cutlets, and the dogs were fighting for the veal cutlets. Veal cutlets means what now? Veal means the flesh of cows and calves. Okay, so it is called as veal. So the dogs were fighting for the veal cutlets. The dogs were fighting for them to eat the veal cutlets. Mr. Pumblechook and Mrs. Joe means his sister. His sister's name was Mrs. Joe. Okay. Stared at one another again in utter amazement. Utter amazement means they were very much shocked to know all these things about Miss Havisham. Okay, and they thought, how can it be possible? Okay, and Pip was making up more and more imaginary things by his own mind, telling more and more lies. Okay, where was this coach? Asked my sister. In Miss Havisham's room. Okay, he answered, and they stared again. They were continuously looking in amazement. They were shocked, they were surprised, and they were continuously looking at Pip. Okay, but there weren't any horses to it. Okay, there weren't any horses to it. Pip continued, added one more thing. And can this be possible, uncle? Asked Mrs. Joe. Mrs. Joe means who is Mrs. Joe? Yes, Pip's sister. I'll tell you, said Mr. Pumblechook. My opinion is it's a sedan chair. She's flighty, you know. She's flighty. My opinion is it's a sedan chair. Sedan chair means it's a kind of palanquin It is not a chariot, or it is not a coach which has wheels. It is actually a sedan chair, and a kind of palanquin which is carried by people, four or more people on their shoulders. Okay, so I think it's a sedan chair. She's flighty, you know. Flighty means she can take a flight. She's light, means not much heavy, you know. Did you ever see her in it, uncle? How could I? He answered, forced to admit that he had never seen her in his life. Now, Mr. Pumblechook agreed. He admitted that he had never seen Miss Havisham in his life. He had only spoken to her from behind a door. Okay, means he has not seen her face to face. Really? Okay. So, listen, boy, he said, turning to me. You went there to play. What did you play at? We played with flags, I said. Flags? Echoed my sister. Miss, immediately she uh, exclaimed, flags? Miss, echo, like echo of Pip's saying. Okay, what Pip said. So, yes, said I. Estella waved a blue flag and I waved a red one. And Miss Havisham waved one sprinkled all over with gold stars out at the coach window, and then we all waved our swords and hurrahed. Okay, now how Pip is making up his own story by his mind. Okay, we were playing with flags. Okay, he said first. Estella waved a blue flag. Estella, the niece of Miss Havisham, waved a blue flag, and I waved a red one, and Miss Havisham waved the one which was sprinkled all over with little gold stars. Okay, there were all gold stars, and it was all gold, black velvet coach, and silver basket, and flag with gold stars, and all these things were about Miss Havisham's. Okay, so they were all waving their flags. So, and then we all waved our swords and hurrah. Okay, he continued that we all waved our swords also and hurrah. Said hurrah means cheered. Okay, loudly. So swords, repeated my sister. Where did you get the swords from? Out of a cupboard, and I saw pistols in it and jam and pills. Okay, so he was making up things, anything he was saying to the uncle Pumblechook and his sister. Okay, out of a cupboard, and I saw pistols in it and jams and pills, and there was no daylight in the room, but it was all lighted with candles. There were candles in the room to light the room. They both stared at me, and I, with an innocent look, stared at them. Okay, innocently, I was looking at them. I beg to observe that I think of myself with amazement. Now, Pip was amazed by himself, like the lesson suggests the name of the lesson. Pip amazes himself, like that. He was amazed by himself, what kind of, how much lies he can speak. Okay, when I recall the lies I told on the occasion. Okay, when he remembers the lies that he told, so he gets amazed with himself. Okay, if they had asked me any more questions, I would undoubtedly have betrayed myself. Okay, undoubtedly have betrayed myself means I have given caused loss to myself. But my sister's husband came in at that time, saved me from speaking more lies. Okay, so my sister's husband came there. So what was his name? Mr. Joe. Okay, Mr. Joe came there at that time, and he saved me from speaking more lies, or else he would continue to speak more lies to Mr. Pumblechook and Mrs. Joe, means his sister. When I saw Joe open his blue eyes and roll them all around in the kitchen in amazement. Okay, means he was moving, rolling his eyes all over in the kitchen in amazement. I was overtaken by shame. Okay, Now Pip was feeling shame. So, but the shame was only as regarded him. Okay, the shame was related only to the only to Mr. Joe. Why? Not the least as regarded the other two. Means it was not about the other two, the Mrs. Joe and Mr. Pumblechook. Towards Joe and Joe only, I considered myself a young master. Okay, towards Joe only. Okay, he said because Joe was kind-hearted person and he respected Mr. Joe. Who was Mr. Joe? Husband of his sister. Okay, when Mr. Pumblechook had driven off, means when he went away, and when my sister was washing up, means his sister was also started washing clothes or dishes. I stole into the forge to Joe. Into the forge means a place where metals are worked with. Okay, metal workshop you can say. Okay, things are made from metals here in the forge. So I stole into the forge to Joe. Joe, I should like to tell you something. So then tell us, Pip, what is that? What is it? Do you remember all I said about Miss Havisham? It's a terrible thing. It ain't true, Joe. Means he admits that it is not true what I told to Mr. Pumblechook and Mrs. Joe. Okay. I told lies. He's admitting that. He's confessing. Okay. So, what are you telling me? Cried Joe, falling back in greatest amazement. He was so much amazed that he was taken aback. Yes, I do. It's lies, Joe. You mean no black velvet coach, no dogs, no veal cutlets. At least there was a dog, a puppy. So I shook my head. Means there was not even a small puppy there. And all these things, what he told to those two people, were by his imagination. Okay, it was not real. He That was all lies. Okay, so it's terrible, Joe, ain't it? Awful. What possessed you? Cried Joe. What possessed you means what have you did? Who was controlling you? Means you were not in your control. Who was possessing you? I don't know what possessed me, Joe. Miss Havisham and Estella were both rude to me. Means they were rude with me and they did not behaved properly or good to me and the lies had come of it. Means I was angry about their behavior towards me. So lies had come out. I spoken lies to about them. Okay. There's one thing you may be sure of, Pip, namely that lies is lies. Don't you tell any more of them, said Joe. Joe was kind hearted, okay, and Pip respected him. Okay, only one person to whom Pip gave respect. Okay, don't you tell any more of them, said Joe. He said, he told him, told him that never tell a lie again. You are not angry with me, Joe? No, old chap. Go upstairs to bed and pray never to do it anymore. Means pray to God that you will not tell any more lies. When I got to my little room and said my prayers, I did not forget Joe's advice. He prayed to God that he will not tell any lies. Okay, he will not lie to anyone. That was a memorable day to me, for it made great changes in me. Means it was a great memorable day which made great changes in Pip. Pip, who was a very naughty kind of boy and who always lied, okay, and uh, he was not speaking true or he was not honest, but this day made changes in him. Okay, Means this lesson suggests us that anyone can make changes inside him or her. Okay, changes can happen. Okay, we can change anything if we want to. This lesson gives this message to us. Okay, and Pip was now changed, and he promised, he prayed to God that he will not tell any lie to anyone. Okay, so I hope you have understood this lesson, children. So in the next video we will solve the exercises from this lesson. Till then,